Hello and welcome to a mini presentation about foreign language classroom setup for optimal learning and productivity. My name is Violetta Cini and I'm a French teacher at Galion High School in Galion, Ohio. I currently teach 4 levels of French language to students in grade levels 8 through 12. My classes vary in size, ranging from 22 to 31 students per class. My style of instruction is blended learning, and I utilize a blend of a traditional model along with station rotation and flipped classroom approach to instruction. When arranging my classroom, I had to consider a few variables, including student and teacher mobility, various learning styles of my students, along with a few learning accommodations I need to provide to some of my students. I also strive to create an environment that promotes student engagement and participation, collaboration, and interactivity. Lastly, I have to ensure that my classroom is set up for one-on-one instruction, student presentations, and one-on-one speaking assessments. Based on my classroom setup assessment, I have created a room layout that includes 6 groupings of 4-seat interactive stations or pods, 1 traditional 3-seat desk grouping, and 3 separate flexible learning stations. For my own job duty needs, I have a traditional desk in the corner of my room where I do my class preps and lesson planning, where I complete grading and other assessments, and where I conduct parent phone calls. In addition, I have a portable resource desk in front of the room, which I utilize during my day-to-day instruction. On this portable desk, I keep materials I need to deliver each lesson. However, this desk also doubles as a podium for student presentations and how-to demonstrations. Furthermore, this high table also serves as a small buffet table during our food parties and holiday celebrations. Desk arrangements in multiple smaller pods or stations improve my mobility and proximity to my students. Proximity is a term used to describe a teacher's nearness to his or her students during a lesson. It is a proven technique that helps improve students' behavior and focus. In my classroom, I'm able to circulate throughout the room in between stations during instruction. I'm also able to help students complete their assignments or projects and answer any questions they might have regarding our daily lesson. This newly created classroom arrangement helps me with my overall blended learning approach of instruction, especially when I employ station rotation model. In this model of instruction, one station is instructor-led, while other stations could be individual or collaborative stations. In collaborative stations, students participate in peer interviews and dialogues. They do role plays and case scenarios, complete group projects, and participate in interactive educational games and quizzes. On the other hand, in individual stations, students can do individual reading and writing assignments and can conduct research projects. Since our school is one-on-one school, each of our students is issued an iPad, and majority of our daily lessons and assignments are posted in Canvas learning management system. For any paper-based assignments and craft and art projects, I provide students with a cup filled with various supplies, which I place in the center of each station. The 3-seat station I have in the upper right corner of my room I use for one-on-one instruction, guided reading lessons, and speaking assessments. I also use this station for students who need to complete any makeup work, quizzes, and other assessments. Occasionally, one-on-one instruction is needed for students who are on IEP or who need additional assistance in understanding the material. During our guided reading lessons, I work with groups of 3 students who have similar reading processes. This weekly routine helps my students develop their reading and comprehension skills. In flexible seating stations, my students can do independent reading assignments, which they can access on their iPads. Our units are available on Canvas, our learning management system, but I also have copies of our textbooks and various picture books and other reading materials in print format as well. Independent reading has become more effective and appealing to students since the reading materials on iPads come with voice features. Students can either hover over or click on the vocabulary word and hear the pronunciation of each word as they are reading. When reflecting upon this process, I have concluded that this classroom arrangement was successful for my French classroom. However, I need to point out that this process was carefully thought out. For any teacher looking to make a change, I would advise to be very methodical about it. Plan ahead and be organized. Take time to conduct a needs assessment and identify classroom management priorities. This includes instructional needs and routines, learning styles of your students, and accommodations, desired behavioral outcomes, and overall aesthetics of the room. I would also advise gathering students' input so they can feel part of the process and feel empowered. Once the classroom arrangement is implemented, take notes at the end of the day about what worked and what did not, and make small adjustments if needed. For example, I made a few adjustments regarding my flexible seating stations and routines for independent reading sessions. In terms of a timeline, I implemented this change during Q4 of this academic year, and overall the results were very positive. 3 areas where I particularly noticed a difference were overall instructional delivery, student participation, and student behavior. As a teacher, I was more productive and I was able to deliver my lessons in a more organized manner while utilizing the blended learning approach of instruction. This room arrangement also allowed my students to be more engaged in my lessons, and there were far less class interruptions. My own interaction with students also increased, with my ability to move around the room and have an opportunity to check student progress and offer assistance if needed. Finally, with this new classroom setup and new routines in place, my students were able to stay focused and on task. Well, this concludes my presentation on classroom setup for success. Thank you for joining me today in this mini tour of my new classroom arrangement. If you have any questions or would like to provide me with a suggestion or other feedback, please feel free to leave me a comment below. Thank you again for joining me. Until the next time, or as French would say it, à la prochaine. Merci.